Ripping off speeches, controversial outfits, and nonstop family drama, Melania Trump may keep a low profile as First Lady, but she can't seem to escape scandal. In 2016, the New York Post published a story looking into Melania Trump's past modeling career and some controversial pictures she had taken. According to the outlet, the First Lady posed without her clothes on for a defunct men's magazine in 1996, shortly after she arrived in the United States. This was not the only time Melania bared it all for the camera. In 2000, she did so again, this time for a GQ interview. While Melania's past modeling works continue to cast a controversial shadow on her public image and her husband's political career, the First Lady stands behind her choices. In a video posted to X, Melania defended her revealing modeling work, adding,
"We should honor our bodies and embrace the timeless tradition of using art as a powerful means of self-expression."
There have long been rumors that Melania can't stand Donald Trump. This speculation has lingered, thanks in part to the many awkward public interactions between the couple. Back in 2017, the Trumps made headlines during a diplomatic visit to Israel. While walking on a red carpet alongside Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his wife, Melania seemingly batted her husband away after he reached to hold her hands. To make matters worse, Melania continued to hint at cracks in her marriage. Notably, the First Lady was absent from most of Donald's re-election campaign efforts and stayed silent amid his 2024 legal troubles. According to journalist Michael Wolff's book, All or Nothing, Melania's absence was deliberate. He wrote, "Since the first indictment in New York, when Melania had simply laughed at the campaign's effort to get her to accompany her husband, it had been clear that she wasn't going to show up." Melania has publicly opposed some of her husband's beliefs and policies, declaring in her 2024 memoir, Melania, that she believes in abortion rights. She wrote in the book, "Restricting a woman's right to choose whether to terminate an unwanted pregnancy is the same as denying her control over her own body." In 2020, Stephanie Wolkoff, former senior advisor to Melania, released voice recordings of the First Lady expressing her frustration that the media was criticizing her for not speaking out on Donald's controversial family separation policy at the US-Mexico border. She ranted in the recording,
"They say I'm complicit. I'm the same like him. I support him. I don't say enough. I don't do enough." No.
The recordings also included a profane rant about the outrage surrounding migrant children separated from their families. The First Lady said,
"Give me a break. Where they were saying anything when Obama did that?"
In her 2024 memoir, Melania, the First Lady recounted her distress after hearing kids were subjected to unfavorable living conditions at detention centers. She wrote, "As a mother myself, I stressed, the government should not be taking children away from their parents. I communicated with great clarity. This has to stop." It's not every day that the First Lady gets accused of plagiarism, but that was the situation Melania found herself in 2016. While speaking at the Republican National Convention, Melania delivered a powerful speech that sounded too familiar. It was later discovered that a section of Melania's speech closely mirrored a speech Michelle Obama delivered at the 2008 Democratic National Convention. Responding to the backlash, Melania's team insisted the speech was inspired by her life experiences as an immigrant. A statement shared at the time read, "In writing her beautiful speech, Melania's team of writers took notes on her life's inspirations and in some instances included fragments that reflected her own thinking." This did little to convince critics. Eventually, Meredith McIver, a scriptwriter on Melania's team, publicly took responsibility. She wrote in a statement, "This was my mistake, and I feel terrible for the chaos I have caused Melania and the Trumps, as well as to Mrs. Obama." Years later, the First Lady reflected on the scandal in her memoir, admitting that she felt betrayed by her team for not properly vetting the speech. She wrote, "Looking back, I realized that I had relied too much on others in this crucial endeavor." In 2018, Melania stirred up another wave of controversy, only this time not with words, but with a fashion item. During a visit to a migrant detention center, Melania donned a green jacket with the words, "I really don't care, do you?" scrawled across the back. Melania's jacket drew criticism, with many dubbing it as insensitive and out of touch, considering she was visiting displaced children. One person wrote on X, "How in the world is it ever okay to wear such a jacket? Who told her this was okay?" Meanwhile, another social media user accused her of being tone-deaf, but according to the First Lady, the message in the jacket was a way of standing up for herself. In an interview with ABC News, Melania set the record straight, explaining that the jacket wasn't directed at the children she was visiting, but rather the left-wing media who had long scrutinized her. She said,
"And I want to show them that I don't care. You could criticize whatever you want to say, but it will not stop me to do what I feel it's right."
Amid the heat of the 2024 presidential campaign, Melania was at the center of another controversy, this time stirred up by her former aide, Stephanie Grisham. Grisham, who served as Melania's communications director and eventually chief of staff, shocked many when she appeared at the Democratic National Convention to endorse Kamala Harris. During her speech, Grisham reflected on her time in the White House, revealing she decided to leave her role after the First Lady's apparent indifference to the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot. Grisham said, "On Jan 6, I asked Melania if we can at least tweet that, while peaceful protest is the right of every American, there's no place for lawlessness or violence."
She replied with one word, "No."
Melania, however, pushed back in her memoir, claiming that she was unaware of the context behind the text at the time, as she was busy archiving all of the decorations she had carried out in the White House. Still, Grisham maintained her stance, asserting that the First Lady had been informed of the violence at the Capitol but chose to stay quiet. According to The Hill, Grisham said, "Melania knew what was going on at all times, or she asked questions. Her response to me showed me enough that I immediately resigned and left the life I'd been devoted to for years." Melania took legal action against the Daily Mail in 2016 after it published an article about her modeling past. The since-deleted article alleged that back in the 90s, the First Lady worked for a modeling agency similar to a gentleman's club. The publication further suggested Melania worked as an escort catering to rich New York clients. Although the Daily Mail later published a retraction, Melania filed a $150 million lawsuit, citing severe harm to her. 7 months after filing the lawsuit, London's High Court ruled in favor of the First Lady, who accepted damages and an apology from the Daily Mail. According to the BBC, Melania received about $3 million in payment, covering damages and her legal fees. In a formal apology, the Daily Mail wrote, "We accept that these allegations about Mrs. Trump are not true, and we retract and withdraw them. We apologize to Mrs. Trump for any distress that our publication caused her." In 2016, The Washington Post released an article detailing an inappropriate conversation Donald Trump had with Access Hollywood host Billy Bush back in September 2005. In the tape, Donald bragged about a failed attempt to seduce Nancy O'Dell, Bush's co-host.
"I moved on her like a but I couldn't get there, and she was married."
The conversation took a more disturbing turn when Trump and Bush started making crude comments about actor Ariane Zucker, who was meant to escort them on set. Responding to the scandal, Donald released a statement in which he infamously dubbed the conversation as locker room banter. Donald also apologized, insisting,
"Anyone who knows me knows these words don't reflect who I am."
Years later, amid Trump's 2024 hush money trial, his former attorney, Michael Cohen, claimed Melania had encouraged Trump to downplay the remarks and go with the locker room banter narrative. Cohen testified in court. "He told me that's what Melania had thought it was and used that in order to get control over the story and to minimize its impact on him and his campaign." However, while Melania neither confirmed nor denied this, she previously defended her husband's comments in an interview with CNN, insisting that he was only engaging in boy talk.
I said, I don't know that person that would talk that way.
In 2016, the Associated Press suggested Melania once worked in the United States illegally after first arriving in 1996 on a tourist visa. According to documents obtained by the outlet, before getting her work permit in October 1996, the First Lady had racked up over $20,000 in payment for 10 modeling jobs. Given her husband's anti-illegal immigration policies, this revelation raised a few eyebrows, with social media users calling out the hypocrisy. One person wrote on X, "The moment Melania started accepting jobs while on her tourist visa, she became an illegal alien." 5 years later, the former model was approved for the EB-1 visa, giving her a green card and making her a permanent resident of the United States. Controversy has surrounded Melania's approval for this EB-1 visa, which is primarily meant for those with proven extraordinary abilities. While she might have enjoyed a budding modeling career in Europe, there is nothing proving that the First Lady was actually qualified for this visa. Immigration lawyer David Leopold told The Washington Post, "What did she submit? There are a lot of questions about how she procured entry into the United States." Melania has since laid the concerns to rest, declaring in a 2016 X post that she went through the correct legal process when arriving in America.
I want to thank all of our supporters. My number one supporter, Melania, what she puts up with.
Though the two have always appeared cordial in public, Melania and Ivanka Trump have allegedly had a lot of tension between them over the years. In her unauthorized 2020 biography, The Art of Her Deal, veteran journalist Mary Jordan shed light on the pair's strained relationship, revealing that things reportedly took a turn for the worse following Donald's victory in the 2016 election. According to Jordan, a cause of the friction was Ivanka's attempts to take on duties meant for the First Lady. Jordan explained, When Ivanka came to the White House, she really loved it immediately. Melania was up in New York. Ivanka all of a sudden said, I think we should rename the First Lady's office the First Family Office. And then, of course, Melania put her foot down and said, no way. While neither Ivanka nor Melania has publicly confirmed or denied these claims, rumors of a power struggle have continued. In her memoir, Melania and Me, Stephanie Wolkoff detailed how Ivanka attempted to dominate key moments at Donald Trump's inauguration. In retaliation, Melania allegedly devised Operation Block Ivanka to keep her stepdaughter out of important pictures. Wolkoff wrote, "Yes, Operation Block Ivanka was petty. Melania was in on this mission. But in our minds, Ivanka shouldn't have made herself the center of attention in her father's inauguration." Melania has also subtly hinted at the growing tension with her stepkids, writing in her memoir that while they may not always agree, each person is deserving of respect and understanding, regardless of disagreements.